Welcome back to Watching the Throne on the Late Night Chat Network, episode 13. All right, welcome back, everybody.
Hey, welcome back. What's going on, Nico?
I'm all right. I'm all right. Yeah, I was just thinking today, if House of the Dragon, whenever the fuck it comes back, what 2025 or four or whatever this year, or whatever that show actually ends up coming back, or even prior to then, do we plan on doing a weekly show about that when it comes time to it? If we're actually still doing this type of shit, like by then in our lives, because it's
It's still a
probably
while.
huh?
It's still a while before it even comes out.
Yeah, a year and a half. I was just curious if that would be even something we'd be interested in doing because then we could kind of keep up to date week to week with the show, right? I mean, by the time we're done this, it's going to be a year out,
Yeah, that's what I mean.
honestly.
This is going to take up most of the time.
So I mean, like, it may even be interesting to do um and see this the season of House of the Dragon, and even kind of rewatch it prior to the actual show coming out, right? So yeah, we'll
Yeah,
have to talk about it closer to then. But that would be interesting. I think that would be fun to do. I think if we did it like as a weekly update show, since no other people do any show related shows on the network right now. But anyways, guys,
yeah, yeah.
welcome back. Welcome back, everybody. This is
I think I
watch.
got. Go on. I think I got my nephew interested in this one too.
Oh, is that right?
He was asking me all about it today, man. I was like, all
Which
right,
nephew?
yeah, the 10-year-old.
Okay. About this show that we're doing or Game of Thrones?
And not specifically the one that we're doing. I told him that we're going to be recording one tonight.
Yeah.
And yeah, he says, "What is that Game of Thrones?" And then I was telling him, I was showing him, right? I was like, "Oh yeah, you got to watch that. You got
That's
or check out
appropriate for his
the
age.
House
Yeah.
of the Dragons." He's gonna go home and start asking his dad and stuff like that. So,
I don't know if I don't
but I
know
said
if
it was. I told him it was so cool. I go, "Look at the dragons, man, and
I
the
don't know if we
wolves and
should
the."
be showing children this show. They're gonna start turning around and start trying to kiss their brothers or something like that. Some sort of weird Game of Thrones esque incestual thing. But anyways, guys,
Yeah,
here we
moving
are.
on. You turned that one around on me. That was good.
So we're here today to talk about the episode's name is What is Dead May Never Die, and that's Game of Thrones season 2, episode 3 that we're going to be talking about here today. And Watching the Throne, this is the show where I'm revisiting Game of Thrones for the first time. I've watched the whole series once through, never went back and rewatched it. So it's been years and years and years, probably like 10 years since I've seen these episodes, like at least these earlier seasons for sure. And Jay, this is his first time watching Game of Thrones. So, House of the Dragon got him interested in checking this out. So we meet here week to week and discuss the episodes in depth, kind of just do a walkthrough of each scene and tell you guys what we thought of it. And, normally we give our overall thoughts here at the start, and kind of, season two's still moving along, at a slow pace, building a lot of shit. A lot of there's about I think maybe 2 or 3 new characters though introduced into this episode, so they're laying groundwork. There's a lot of stuff actually happening, while even though it seems like there's not much big things happening, they're
Yeah,
building in this one, right? They're doing their thing. So what'd you think overall of this one, Jay?
this one here was a good episode. I liked it. I didn't mind. It was pretty good. A lot of conniving little things going on in this one. I
Yeah.
noticed. Right, so.
Yeah.
Uh, That'll be interesting. A lot of wheels put into motion, like as you'd like to say, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Slowly put into motion, right? I think, and to be honest with you, it's pretty good. It was pretty good. I didn't think it was gonna be, you know, as interesting as it was. Brings back some old guys that from a couple episodes ago and stuff, and you know,
Yeah. not only that, I think what it did well was it touched on, there was a lot of smaller scenes in this one, and it also while introducing new characters, it even touched on I think a few characters that we haven't even really seen this season or since the first episode, I would say, and it
Yeah.
moved along better, I think, than the first two episodes. Like this one, while watching it, even taking the notes and
Mhm.
watching it, I got through it a lot quicker than I did the first two episodes of season two. Like this one seemed to move along pretty well with the scenes. Like this, it wasn't as, I think, difficult of a watch in that sense, and taking notes and everything. Like so, it was a good one, I think, as well.
Yeah, it was, and it's yeah. There was bigger parts for characters you hadn't seen get such a bigger screen time, and then there was a few characters that didn't have much screen or much to no screen time at all in this one that we've already been introduced to. So that's interesting. Keeps the storyline moving along. I think keeps you wondering. But our Lannister's all been he's been in like every freaking episode. He's the shit, man, in this series. He is. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why he won so many awards, right, for playing this character, right? So I think it's good for him.
Oh,
But
for sure.
why don't you have the, I guess, season two up on your IMDb there or whatever you use for your pictures, because there's gonna be a couple new characters that are gonna be shown in this episode.
Yeah, I got the things. I gotta figure out these characters, their names, but I see. I think I see them here right now as it is.
If not, I
I got-
got it up here to assist as well
Yeah,
today. So okay, so
that's what I see.
yeah, so the episode opens up with Lord Craster beating the shit out of Jon Snow, apparently, because at the end of last episode we saw him get knocked out in the middle of the forest after he came across whatever they were doing with the babies, and basically he then he goes and speaks to his Lord Commander of the Night Watch and tells him that he wants him and his men gone, essentially, and
Mhm.
like he's really pissed off. He's breaking shit, he's fucking yelling, and he's pissed off because they found Jon sneaking around the forest at the end of the last episode, right?
Yeah, he got to see what they were doing, and he's starting to question a little bit of what's going on there. Because he had that thing, like what were they doing with the sons, right? Of all this guy's like kids, his offspring or whatever, right? So we got to see a little bit of a touch on that, but he actually touches. He actually says something about that and asks if he, he kind of asks his own, like his commander, if that's what's going on, and I feel like he kind of knows about it. He's not saying, but he knows about it. It's just something that you keep quiet, sort of thing.
Yeah, it
Oh,
kind
shut
of
things you got to do.
yeah, it ends with him basically saying it's something we just gotta, turn a blind eye to, essentially, because he mentions the fact that, we have our own wars to focus on, and we need people like him to aid us, and John kind of says in passing he's even unsure of what he really saw that took the child. It was like because at the end of that last episode, it was kind of like he was hearing sounds, and it seemed like there was some sort of supernatural things that like kind of going on in those woods, right? And the Lord Commander mentions that he one of the lines was that he's like well, the wildlings says, I guess this guy is a lord to, I guess, some of the wildling people, like, I guess because they are outside the wall now, so I guess they're considered wildlings out here, right? So he mentions they serve crueler gods than we do, and he's trying to let him know that, like,
It's like
essentially
offerings.
what's happening is they're sacrificing the boys to the gods, whatever the fuck is going on there, how that's going down, how they're getting taken or what have you. But yeah, that's essentially what's discussed in here. So we're not 100% clear on what's happening there, but it is
I'm
very
starting
much.
to think I can guess, but I don't know if I can. It's pretty. I guess it's a thin line to walk across. I start talking the way I do, my way I usually do about what's going on out there and what's turning into wildlings and all that stuff. It's a little bit,
Yeah,
if somebody's
interesting though.
keeps having kids with his own daughters, and then just leaves them out in the woods. You kind of wonder what the hell is out there.
Well, it's only the boys, as we know, because
Still, but I mean, but a bunch of, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, but what we're seeing happen is that he's breeding with these daughters of his or whatever, and making these kids to use as sacrifices to whatever gods that they serve or whatever out in the woods there, right? So I mean, it's some pretty crazy shit going on, whatever that is, because it doesn't look like they're just basically just sacrificing them in the sense they're just killing them. Something's taking them, right? So like that was alluded to anyways, and by John when he said, "I don't even know what the hell that was," right? So like it's creepy, you know what I mean? It's really
It
weird
is.
whatever the fuck's going on here. And then from there you get Sam, you see him get some more FaceTime with Gilly. He
Yeah.
tries to give her a gift before they leave, which was the last possession
I
of
see
his
that
mother's
thing.
that she gave to him. What was it exactly, Jay? What was that
I
item?
don't know, man. I thought it looked like at first it looked like a thimble of some sort, like when you're sewing, but and at the other it looked like a little like porcelain. I don't know, maybe.
Nipple or something. It seemed
Well,
like
hey, yeah, at first it's like maybe like a baby bottle. That's
that's
the
what I
only other
mean.
thing I could. Yeah.
That's what it looked like. I wasn't exactly sure what it was either. I wasn't sure if you caught
No,
that.
no,
So
no. I seen what he gave her, but I can't make out what it actually was. I couldn't make out what it actually was, right? So that was kind of like I seen it. It's kind of pinkish. I'm looking to see if I see a picture here, but no, it just shows him standing beside her there. But
so it is the thimble. It is the thimble.
yeah, I thought something like that because I
Yeah.
thought I thought she would do something. I mean, they'd have to use it to protect their thumbs and stuff, like
Yeah,
fingers
I
and
had to,
stuff.
I had to, I had to Google it. So it said before leaving Craster's Keep, Samwell gives Gilly a thimble that once belonged to Lady Melissa. He explains that he used to read to her while she was sewing. Yeah,
Yeah,
which he did, but his father ended the practice when he found out. So yeah, that's what he gave to her. And the cool thing about this is this guy's kind of acting pretty suave now. He's like, "Listen, why don't you just hold on to it for me? I'll get it back from you when I come back." Like he basically
yeah, for sure.
promises that
I'll be back. Like he's saying,
promises he'll come back for her, right? So, which is nice because I know he wanted to take her, but obviously with everything going on between them now, and especially the fact that he's basically said these guys gotta get the fuck out of here now, like because they've disturbed their whatever they got going on there, right? You
he's
know,
creeping around where he shouldn't be creeping around. That's
yeah.
what happened. That was what was happening. And then he kicked him off his property. He's like, "Get out of here."
So she, listen, Sam's making a move, man. I mean, he's like, hey, listen, I'll be back for it, and you keep that warm for me, and I'll be back for you after I'm done outside the wall here, right? So he probably
I
gives her a
hope.
promise, right?
I
Let's
hope so. I hope. I have had my fingers crossed for him. I like him. He seems like
I
an
was
innocent character.
I was about to say, let's hope if he survives the experience, right?
Yeah. Or this season. You know what I mean? I don't know how far he went into it. I don't know if he did the whole series, right? Because, like I said, I haven't really Googled anything about this show. I keep it limited to what photos I see on here. So, like
Mhm.
for each episode, because I want to see what's going on, obviously, right? I want
Right.
to know what's going on myself every time I watch the episode. So, but
And
that was
then
kind of cool.
yeah, that was cool. And then the next one we experienced basically a POV there, point of view from the dire wolf's perspective that seems to be connected to Brand's dreams. Like so you basically are seeing something go through and get greeted and all this kind of stuff through doors all the way onto Brand's bed, wakes
Mhm.
him up, the dire wolf, and then it turns out like again, it seems like Bran is somehow in the animal or seeing outside of the animal or something in his dreams. And then he kind of gets into his discussion with like the dude that's his hand essentially in Winterfell there. And, about telling him about how real his dreams are and everything else. Right. And then he
Yeah,
mentions, having heard tales before of people talking about being in the bodies of stags and stuff like that. And,
yeah. Like he's teaching it. He's talking about like little fables and stuff like that, or stories where people would see, could tell but like Sam's thinking he could see the future, or he could see what's happened. Like he visions himself in a wolf's body, like that he can taste the blood and stuff. So he was really, really descriptive about what he said, right? And it was interesting too, because it seems like he knows what's going on while he sleeps, right? So it's a weird connection that
he has a weird
the
connection
wolf
going
have.
on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not exactly clear as to like how he can harness this or what he can do with it, or even if
Starting to
that's
see
something.
weird powers and stuff. Like some weird gibberish is coming on. Like I get the dragon part, so there's got to be a little bit of fairy tale to it and all that, right? So I'm starting to see that kind of stuff starting to slowly play out, but it's playing out really cool.
I like the line though that he says to him, the guy, the old man that's there sitting there talking to him about all this though, and he kind of says, they're just dreams, like that's all they are. And he says, dragons are gone, the giants are dead, and
Mm.
the children of the forest are forgotten. Like
Yeah,
that's what he says, right? So we already know one of those things is still alive, right? Out there, I mean, they're not aware of this fact as of yet, but we already know that dragons are like do exist again. So I mean, there you go. So who knows?
Yeah, so there's the one part of it. Let's see if we get children that are alive still in the forest, which would be crazy. And
And
yeah,
to giants as well, I guess being a thing at some
that's
point.
another thing. Yeah, the only thing I could think of was that movie that I just seen, that weird, like, sweet Scandinavian version of that Trolls movie where they become
Oh,
part of the rocks. Like, that's the only thing I can envision, like that, something like that, right?
one on
But
Netflix. Yeah, that looks interesting. Yeah.
it was a weird Netflix suggestion, right? Like one of
Yeah.
those.
No, I saw it. I saw it on there. Yeah,
Yeah. It was a weird thing. I was like, all right, let's see what it's like. But I hate when the voice and the words don't match, like the movement of the mouth and the words don't match. They do, So it's kind of fucked up. It throws me off a little bit.
I've yet to watch it, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. That film. Yeah, I saw that.
When they put the English subtitles, like the actual
Sure.
audio in, yeah, they try.
Yeah. Then they cut to us watching some Knights Duel for royalty. Which is actually Renly Baratheon, who is of course the one of the Baratheons. I guess it was his other brother, right? The gay one. Yeah, this is the gay one who fled early prior to him getting like killed of that wound. If you recall back in season 1, there when he got hit by the boar, he was the one who was out there with him in the woods. And he kind of fled before everything started kind of going down in King's Landing because he, like, I guess, sensed that it wasn't safe for him there at that time, and he really didn't want to deal with it. And Ned was kind of like the one that said he wasn't going to allow him to step in. He would rather not Tywin, sorry, the other fucking Baratheon brother that we're following, who's in the last episode. I forgot his fucking name now.
Hold on. Don't
Stannis. Yeah, so Stannis is the one that Ned wanted to take over. He did not agree with Renly being the person to step in. So again, that is now another person that's out there in the world that believes that the throne should be his. That's working towards that, right? So, but we haven't really seen him since he kind of took off. So in this scene, you find out that he's married. He has a queen now, and his gay lover guy, who's like, I guess, part of the Knights, is also there with him as well, like where they've set up. And the woman that he's married to, that you meet for the first time, if you have a picture of her, Jay, very beautiful. This is one of my favorite characters. She's a hottie. This one, she's very, very beautiful looking woman, and she's Marjorie of House Tyrell. And little bit of a
facial shot, or you want a whole body shot?
No, just put the facial shot up, not the naked shot if that's on there. We won't. You guys can check that out online if you really want to look that up. But she gets naked in this episode for sure. But I like this actress, and she's really good in this show. I like this character a lot, and yeah, she's very good looking. She's part of House Tyrell. House Tyrell is the second. Well, yeah, there she is. Yeah, Michelle Fairley, is that her name?
Yeah. Michelle Fairley looks like.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Well,
click on it. See where it takes you. It'll take you to their profile.
Picture. Yeah. No, that's actually Stark.
No, that's
Michelle.
her. Yeah. That's Catelyn.
Natalie. Yeah, this one's Natalie Dormer.
This one. Yeah, that's her.
Oh, that doesn't look like her. What the?
A lot of these people don't look what their characters are in Game of Thrones, but yeah, she's a good looking chick. I like this character. She's part of House Tyrell, and House Tyrell is the second wealthiest and largest of the 8 great houses in Westeros. So yeah. Do you have a House Tyrell liquor?
Yeah. But it's also in the prior one. If you pay attention, if it's in House of Dragons as well.
It's mentioned in passing. Yeah, I think.
No, it actually is a house there.
They're one of the houses that they visit towards the end of the season. You're right. Yeah. That's the one of the ones where they go to see kind of who they're aligning with, along with the Starks. That's right.
It's kind of funny because it's almost similar to this with the ship scenes. It's kind of weird because it kind of plays along with that.
So I had to look that up because I kind of wanted to check my stats on that. So about House Tyrell. So second wealthiest and largest. So that means I guess they're second to the Lannisters, I would assume then, right?
They're powerful. They want to take them down.
Well, Lannisters is definitely the wealthiest, and I'm guessing they're also the largest, possibly. But I mean, who's to say? But yeah, it's House Tyrell is the second wealthiest, largest of the eight. Great, yeah. So
Yeah, and they probably have a lot of backup too, right? Like there's a reason this marriage is going on with these two, as we're starting to figure that out slowly.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so that's who we find out, which isn't really all explained in this scene, but throughout the episode, and by doing a little due diligence on my part, I looked it up, and there you have it. That's kind of what the relationship here. But anyways, their knights are dueling for them, and one of them, after the person wins, the victor wins, pulls off their helmet, and it's a woman, which is another awesome character. If you want to bring up a picture of her, that's Brienne of I think is I always said Tar, but I think it's Tarth.
Brianna Tarth, I think.
Tarth, yeah.
Too as well. I was trying. I knew
Another.
I wrote Tarth.
Brienne of Tarth. It's Brienne of Tarth. Yeah, she's again an awesome fucking character. And this woman, she's been in a lot of things too. Yeah, she's a big woman. Yeah, she was in Sandman more recently, and what else was she in? She was in some other. Oh, she was in the Star Wars films after this, the new ones. Yeah, she's great. Gwendolyn Christie. Yeah, she's really good. This character, I really like this character a lot. And again, it's kind of cool to see a woman step up as a knight and kind of actually get granted as part of his knight's court, essentially, by winning this duel. He was like, what would you like me to grant you? And she's like, I want nothing more than be part of your knight's court, essentially. And he assigns her as such. So that's a big fucking deal, because you don't see women knights walking around, right? But this woman, obviously, big woman, can clearly defend herself, as you see her kind of throw down in this.
Well, I mean, I beg to differ. I mean, did you see who she had to fight? She had to fight the queen's daughter, queen's brother there, and he's the helper of with her husband. If you like me to help, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but he's his help. Yeah. I didn't want to jump too far ahead. I said helper right now, and so that when we got to see, yeah,
they've already been hooking up in the first season, right? We already knew that
together. Yeah,
we just never met his sister. So the fact that they've now established this whole new house and everything else in the series, like there's a lot that will probably come out of this whole situation, right? So, but yeah, she's cool. Brienne of Tarth, really awesome character. After that, Lady Catelyn meets with them there, and Robb Stark's mother, she promised Renly basically promises her Joffrey's head, and says that she'll get justice for her husband's death from the Lannisters, and he of course has stake in this game as well, because he wants to overthrow them so he can take the throne for himself now. And so he's basically saying, yeah, don't worry, we have your back, and all this kind of stuff.
Badass now. He's liking his little position there.
But while this is going on, Marjorie's brother there, his lover there, is basically side talking her on the side, like talking shit to her, Catelyn, and and she turns around and she's basically like, listen, she's like, what kind of a son is this, getting his mother to come out here and like fight his battles for him? Essentially, it's like, my son is fighting a war, not playing at one. Like she's just like, she puts him in his place. And basically, after that, you see her walking with Renly and discussing it. But then she goes as far as also dissing their fucking men as well that they have provided to them, because she says, oh, I have 100,000 men at my disposal, blah, 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 blah. He's like showing off about what they have and all this and that. Mm-hmm. And she mentions that, their nights are of the summer and winter is coming. Like basically that you're not ready for what's about to go down. Like you guys aren't used to this in this part of the world that you're at, essentially, like saying that they're not tough enough.
They're ready for the snow.
Exactly.
You're not Canadian, eh?
They're people of the summer, right? So, and at that point, he's kind of sick of her after she says that, and he basically tells Brienne to take her to her room because she must be tired from her journey. Like, oh, yeah.
He's being a little smart ass about it. He played it right. He's like, he played it smooth. Like, he didn't make it look like he was arguing, but he didn't say, yeah, I don't want to hear it anymore.
Yeah, all right, that's enough.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I can get her the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And they have a chat then too about like, she kind of praises her and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm no lady, she says, and she's like, yeah, I'm no lady. And, well, fuck, she's a half a person taller than Lady Stark.
Yeah, exactly.
Could you imagine her standing next to Tywin?
Oh,
Lannister.
Tyrion.
Tyrion. Sorry,
Yeah.
why am I saying Ty?
Tywin's his father, so you're saying names though. So
I'm
it's
saying names. Yeah, the names are there. They're just not 100. Like
not too British.
I'm writing it right. I'm just
I
when
know.
I'm talking to you. Yeah, it confuses me. But yeah, no.
So from there though, we cut to your favorite character, Theon. He's he's walking around his castle, and this is when we get the confrontation from his sister. She comes around, and he's still very upset about the fact that she didn't warn him that while he was feeling her up that it was his sister. So at least he is upset about the whole encounter. He's not down with it seems like. And then I guess we get a bit of an explanation, like I was asking Jay last episode. I don't know why the fuck she went this far, but she says,
She's a fucking perv. If you're talking about Theon's sister, man.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, yeah, she's a perv, but she's kind of hot. Like she's making me hot, bro. Like when I think about it, it's like, you know what? That's some badass shit you pulled. Like really, it is.
Well, her whole explanation was like she just wanted to see the type of person that he was, which is like that's going a bit too far for my sake to teach him a lesson. I feel like, and they make a joke about like he gets all upset. And he's like, the reason I didn't know it was you is because you looked like a fat little boy last time I saw you. And she's like, you were a fat little boy or something,
Yeah, I still remembered you. No, but that was hilarious, dude. Yeah, she's got some balls. Like, girl, she just wants the family. She just wants that. She wants her dad. Like, kept what was her dad saying after that when they ran each other in the room there?
Well, as a result, though, she's falling in favor with her father over him, right? So I think that's what she's kind of going for, is that she wants to lead their armies into,
It's a war, right? Yeah. And he gets like one little ship.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's basically what happens here. Her father talks strategy to overtake Winterfell with them, and he tells Theon that he's only going to get one ship, and she's making jokes about how he can fight the fishermen along the shore. And he gets pissed off, starts yelling, and throwing a hissy fit, saying he wants more responsibility, and that he knows Robb and he knows their men well, and it's not going to be that easy. And he with all this knowledge he has of the family, he feels like he could be of more use to them, right? But he's kind of flip flopping with his whose side he's on here. All of a sudden,
I thought he was trying to pull them onto Robb's. Like I thought originally what he was trying to do was trying to pull the Greyjoys onto Robb's side, right?
But because he went over there to get them to help them, since the father was so pissed off about what has occurred with him serving the Starks, that now he's like, I'm just going to attack them themselves if they need help. Now I know that they need help. I'm going to attack them on my own. And not only that, he questioned his who he's basically who he serves now and everything else, who he's loyal to, and he's doing it because he wants his father's respect, right? Like he's flip-flopping his allegiance here, though. But I mean, like at this point in time, he doesn't know whether or not to. Like he seems like he wants to help him out, but it's fucked up situation that he's in right now, right? So
they just kept beating him. Like you feel like this guy, he's just trying to get a little bit of a break, man. Like he really is. He's even saying, you gave me your last son away. Like what the fuck? You're calling me weak because I was raised with the Starks, basically, right? Yeah. And now that I've come back after you've given me away like a fucking dog, right? Which basically is what he said, right? Which is kind of right. I mean, like you did. So you're gonna be like, you're not gonna. I think that he'd kind of worry. Like I would be a little worried. First of all, why'd you come back, sort of thing. But I mean, you'd have to figure out how to test them to get over it. You know what I mean?
What I don't like is that this guy's fighting for someone's respect, and I know it's his father, but I feel like he doesn't even deserve it. Like his dad seems like a fucking asshole. Like, why would you want this man's? I get it, it's his father, and like everybody wants their wants their father's respect in that sense. But like,
I hear you, but at the end of the day, really, bro. I mean, fuck. At the end, if my father gave me away like that and just said fuck off, I probably would have been. I wouldn't been as nice to. I'd be on trying to take over his fucking ships.
Right.
Fuck.
Then we cut back over to Shay, who is we've been referring to as Tyrion's whore in the last couple episodes there, but Shay is her name. She's asking for more freedom.
Hey, but do you get mad too when he like the way he yelled at he went shh, 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 when you're reading, like when you're sitting there reading, do you ever do that like to the wife and go shh, shh, shh?
Well, she knows better because she also reads.
I was gonna say, yeah, she probably reads with you, so it's
That's
probably a
right.
really quiet area at that
That's
time.
right. That's right. No, I hate.
Yeah.
There's nothing. That's one of my pet peeves. People. That's what I hate sometimes if you're on break or something at work and you're trying. Sometimes I've read a work and stuff, and people come around. It pisses me off. Like you don't interrupt somebody
Wow.
on the break when they're reading. You know what I mean? Like it's
No wonder it's hard to get to go on lunch with you when I come by there, man. Like this guy's getting cutting into his reading time.
yeah,
Fuck.
right.
Right? It's true, man.
Sometimes I
Oh,
read at work, right? So on my lunch.
yeah.
Um,
No, I
but yeah,
just was wondering. It just made me think of you because he was like, "Shh," like he's just on it. Hey, just leave me alone. I'm doing my own thing.
that's right.
He's a badass. I'm liking. I'm really liking him, bro.
Jane's great. So Shay's asking for more freedom in this scene, from Tyrion as he's sitting there, I guess, reading, going through shit because he's busy now as basically acting as the hand, but basically doing the work of a king at this point, right?
He's
Um,
pondering. Yeah, you could tell.
yeah, she's been she's bitching at him because she's been hidden away and locked away in the room there, and Tyrion warns her of the dangers that are out there for her. Like he has to hide her from his sister and everything else. And he says to her, as a compromise, maybe you can pose as a kitchen wench essentially. And she is not happy about that because she's like, a kitchen wench. What the fuck? Like, I'm a whore. Like, I'm a prostitute. Like, what am I doing in the kitchen? I don't know nothing about
Yeah,
all this
exactly.
shit. So she,
What was her line in that one? She says, "Oh, everybody that's ate my food tells me I'm a good. I'd be a great whore. I'm a great whore," or something like that. Because you're basically saying that you can't cook for shit. You might as well open your legs.
that's right. Yeah.
Kind of sucks but that's just the way they're referring it to. I mean, that's the way I thought of it.
Right. So
Right?
then, we cut from that scene to a family dinner with Cersei and her other children. Cersei Lannister and Sansa Stark is with them as well. Of course,
Poor girl.
the girl that's to be wed to Joffrey.
I feel bad for her, honestly.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
starting to really feel for her because, um, yeah, she's just in a fucking shitty situation right now, man.
yeah. And the son and daughter there are sitting there and they're asking their mother questions about, hey, if whether or not Rob gets killed by them, by their people, the Lannisters. Will he die? Will we get him and this and stuff? And meanwhile they're talking about Rob, her brother, right? She's sitting
Yeah.
right there, and then Cersei just basically says to them, yeah, well, either way, Sansa will do her duty essentially by wedding Joffrey and everything else. So she's stuck between a rock and a hard
She's a
place.
cocky little bitch too, ain't that mother there?
Cersei, yeah.
Yeah, Cersei, I can't stand. I don't like it. I just don't even like her name.
The nice thing though is after this you get to see that Shay gets assigned as Sansa's new handmaiden essentially, and then you get this whole scene about
That was her, right? I wasn't 100%. Like, was it her? And I'm thinking, she
Yeah.
looks a little bit different.
Yeah.
But she's got the accent kind of thing still going, right? So
she comes into the room there and announces herself as her new handmaiden, but she doesn't really know what she's doing. So Sansa has to basically let her know what she should be doing, and
that puts her in her place to really.
yeah,
But
she questions her abilities, and she's kind of rude to her because she's the help, but then she's kind of like, she basically says,
maybe she breaks down, dude.
yeah. Yeah, well,
I think that's what it is. Yeah, she took it out on her, and then she just comb my hair. Like I think she just wanted that affection sort of feeling of that's what I got from the scene. I thought it was a really great scene too. I that one stuck out to me. I just because I wasn't 100% sure if it was Shay, but even her just getting the handmaids and after that whole little encounter at the dinner table, where the princess, like Joffrey's little sister, was saying about the dress, and she didn't want to really kind of, and then Joffrey's, little brother was saying, how was asking if, like he wanted to, if they were going to kill things. Was it brother if they found them?
Rob, yeah, I mentioned this.
Yeah. But as they were saying that, right, this whole scene afterwards just shows how everything I think is just piling up on her. She snaps on this new hand. Yeah. And then it becomes just a scene where just, comb my hair, I need just someone here. That's all I need.
Some comfort, yeah. So I mean, as we learn later on, she was kind of put there obviously to help her in that sense, because I think other people are aware it's really to help both their situations. But I mean, like they're kind of she's not supposed to be there, that Shea girl, and neither is Sansa for that matter. So I think it's interesting that they seem to. It's a good thing that they're kind of stuck together now. It seems like she's kind of there to assist her, right? In that sense.
You think it? You think Lannister had his little Tyrion had his little hands in that? Like he's a sneaky guy. He's got these things in motion, bro.
Well, we'll get to that
As we're getting there. Yeah, I'm getting antsy because that part was so great, and I'm kind of confused. So hopefully you can help me out.
Mm-hmm. So this is probably one of the better scenes here, where Tyrion visits Grand Maester Pycelle, basically for something for his stress-related constipation, essentially. So he's like,
Yes,
he hasn't been able to shit lately. And the Grand Meister is like, oh yeah, it's probably stress related, and he gives him some little like vial of something, right? So
I wonder what it was, man. Yeah, take 2 drops in a cup of water twice a day. All right, it's like Pepto Bismol, Alka-Seltzer, or some shit.
Yeah. So this is where you see him start telling him of his plans, that he's going to wed Sansa's daughter, basically to someone else's family, essentially. And the thing that's smart about this is, as you see him telling this story to the Grand Maester, who's the first person that he started the scene with talking to, you see the scenes kind of interchange, and you see Varys there and Baelish there as well.
Yeah.
And each person, he's very precise to let them know, whatever you do, don't tell the queen. Do not tell the queen, his sister. Don't let the queen know. So you can kind of already see he's plotting something here. He's basically planting the seeds, it seems like, for something, right? So what we find out that I think it doesn't tell you right now afterwards, does it? Okay, so we'll get to that. But anyways,
I just put Tyrion as a smart fuck and keep my eyes open for that.
He tells them all a very similar story, that he's going to wed off his niece, essentially, to different families in the realm, essentially, to basically use it to advance like their what I mean, like who they're aligned with and everything else, as they do it in this time period, right? But what he does is he tells each man a different person that she's actually going to be wedded to. Like he has plans to, he tells different families. He basically tells Varys that he's gonna give Marcella off to Theon Greyjoy, for example. He tells Varys. So basically, plans to wed them strategically for them to take down the Starks and align them. And he then goes even farther and asks Baelish specifically to basically help orchestrate this and put this in motion. And if he does this, he's going to make him lord of the Riverlands. And Baelish is kind of like, really? Like, that's a pretty big dude. Like, that's if I get this put in motion, you're gonna make me. He's like, yes, you served us well during the transition.
He's got a cocky face too. He really does it well, man.
But Baelish is kind of like, this seems like a lot that you're going to give me for this. He's like, sure, okay, if that's what you wish, I will put this in motion for you. I will put the bird in your ear to kind of get this going, essentially, right? And I'll do their bidding. So even though he finds it hard to believe, he's agreeable. I like how they set up the scene though, because at the end of each time he's talking to one of them, or when he opens up about it, he's like, but remember, the queen mustn't know. Like he says it like 5 fucking times, right? So like he's like very clear on that. He's like, don't fucking go behind my back and snitch to her. You better not, right? So even at this point, while I'm watching this, I'm like, oh, he's putting something in motion where he's going to catch the snitch in this organization, right?
Yeah, you've already seen it.
Yeah. So
it's a well played scene, man. Like I even just his facial expressions made it so fucking realistic. Like especially when he was offering them things.
Yeah.
Right. Like he just made, what's his name, the pimp there, Baelish.
Baelish.
Yeah. Just the way he was saying things, oh yeah, well, don't worry, you served our family well. Like, it's like, okay, dude, take it easy. You're a little overacting there, but yeah, that's great. We get it,
So from there, we cut to Renly, back to Renly Baratheon, who's having a gay sex scene on a bed that Jesse wouldn't be able to watch, just like The Last of Us.
RP.
But all he ends up doing is cock teases him.
No.
And says that he should be with his new wife essentially, and that now that they've been married, to keep up appearances essentially. So he ends up leaving the room, and
Isn't the wife? The wife is
his sister.
sister. Yeah, right. I
Right.
mean, like he's looking at the bruise, going, "Oh, that must hurt." Ah, and he bites it. Like, what the fuck is that? At least these I guess weren't two hairy old men, like that we watched it. But they were a little bit more attractive. I'll put it in that. There you go. I'll put in quotations. They were a little bit more attractive, so it didn't bother me as much.
So she comes in, and I mean, the nice thing about this scene though is it quickly transitions to her with topless. She gets
that was perfect.
She strips naked right there for him, right? So
the whole episode, every time I seen her, that cleavage that she has in that dress was driving me crazy. I'm like, how are those titties staying in place? And then once she took her shirt off, you can realize they weren't even there. No, they were perfect. They were beautiful. Little, itty bitty, not itty bitty, but they were decent.
Or itty bitty. No, she's very good looking. So
very good looking.
But she goes over to him, she's trying to, rub up on him, grab his cock and stuff like that. And he kind of says, listen, I've had a lot of wine. So he blames that on not getting hard, essentially, because he's not getting hard for her, right? And that's when she just blurts out.
That really happened. Like, I don't know. I don't drink, so I don't know. So I mean,
it can. Yeah. I mean, I don't really have that problem now, but they're
growing up, I guess,
of drinking, but I would say that I think it's for certain people. I've heard of that happening. And then also there's also the thing about not being able to get off if you're really drunk as well.
Yeah, whiskey dick or like whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. Whiskey dick. Yeah. That's more like you're not getting hard at all. Right. So that's possible.
This wasn't wine dick though, as we know.
That's right. Because then she just blurts out, "Oh, well, you want my brother to come in and help?" So she's clearly aware that these guys are lovers, and he knows that he's gay, and basically says, save your lies for the court. You're going to need a lot of them. And she basically proposes that, listen, do whatever you need to get off and impregnate me, which is basically what our enemies are afraid of right now. So she is clearly in this just for gain of the position of her
anarchy,
a Baratheon, and him possibly being the king, and her basically power playing it with her family's house to become the queen. Everyone's part of this Game of Thrones, my friend. Everyone's trying to.
I'm starting to recognize why it's called game now, right? I'm really now it's becoming more
apparent. Yeah,
apparent. Yeah, it was more just like families having sex with each other in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, but now you're seeing all the people, the conniving, fucking deceiving people that are all horrible fucking human beings trying to make their way up the social ladder, right? Of the royalty, right? So yeah.
It's getting good. I'm sorry, it is getting good, man.
But that's the thing. The more you get introduced to more characters and know their relationships and how they're connected, and the more shit plays out, that's when it gets really fucking good. Honestly, that is the case, right? So. All right.
So let's play the game. I feel like the game would be just as good.
The word gets back to Cersei about the marriage. Surprise, surprise. And
did you hear that?
What's that?
Did you hear that? It was a little bit of jump in your ear. I don't know. I got a little weird feedback here on this. I'm not sorry. My fault. The word
gets back to Cersei about the marriage. Mm-hmm. Surprise, surprise. And she yells at Tyrion for this and basically says, threatens them about how her daughter, that's not happening, that her daughter is going to be, and the person that she ends up mentioning, he told specifically to one person, the family that she mentions to him. And so she already has sussed out the fact that only one person could have revealed this.
Told her that, sorry.
And, that was his plan all along, was to kind of give word to all
we can trust.
Yeah, to basically give word to all the other men in his council. And surprise, surprise, it was not Baelish, it was not Varys, but it was the Grand Maester, the person that he went to speak to.
Maester himself.
So
that's the guy who does the dancing, after he bangs the horse, right?
Yeah. So she threatens him and says, "Do you think the piece of paper father gave you keeps you safe?" He's like, "Ned Stark had a piece of paper too." And Tyrion says, "Listen, it's done. You can't stop it. They'll all be in danger if they don't do something to basically help out their situation." And that's basically, he's like, that's that. And she's kind of, freaking out, yelling, and she's not having it. And, that scene ends there.
Mhm.
And then we get a scene which you see Theon has a letter that's written out to Robb that it looks like he's about to send Robb to warn him of basically what's about to go down with his family. But instead, while sitting there looking at it, decides against it,
What it was, yeah.
lights the letter on fire.
Mm.
And it looks like he is now siding with his own family, the Greyjoys, and is going to go along with this situation because the only thing they show you on the letter, Jay, is that it says Robb on it.
Yeah, there's just some other scribbling, but I mean, you can't make it out.
So, but if I had to guess, that is what was about to occur there because of the events that happened following this scene. But we'll get into that when we get to it. But yeah, and that's when he ends up getting sworn into House Greyjoy right there and then. Afterwards, you see him on the beach getting sworn in as part of his house again, and that is kind of where we get the title of this episode. They say, "What is dead may never die." And he's now officially part of the crew again, part of his family's house, and he is no longer serving the Starks. It looks like he is going all in with this family who really doesn't respect him, it seems like, and for whatsoever. And he was with people that actually, gave him probably the only respect of anybody in this show is given him, right? So
he's with his own. Yeah, he's with his dad's giving him even a weird look too. I noticed. Like, I mean, like he's like, is this really happening? I gotta know that's what I mean. How far is he going to go with this? Like, that's why I don't know where that scene's going to play out. I'd like to see, if this guy steals. I was hoping he was going to steal a bunch of boats and take off. But how do you steal a bunch of boats? You can only take one if you're one guy, right?
So it looks like he's joining his family's efforts against Robb right now. Anyways, so all right. So then we get back to Tyrion. He's sussed out the people involved. Baelish asks not to involve. Baelish asks not to involve Tyrion for him not to involve him next time, essentially. After he, hears word that this is just all some game he did to kind of suss out who the Grand Maester was, and he made him get taken away after they threatened him.
He still paid his swear. He was so nice to see. I like Tyrion, man. He made sure that the women got paid. That's the great thing about it. Like, you don't deserve it. He's like, I might have to come visit you soon. Here, that's what he's thinking. I know.
Yeah. No. But Baelish says, listen, he after he's like, don't involve me in your next scheme, essentially, and he's like, oh, it's a shame because I want you to go and ask Catelyn to let Jaime out of captivity as their prisoner, essentially, and he knows that he has a thing for Catelyn.
Oh yeah,
he knows how to play Baelish already too, because he says, "Oh, really? You don't want me to involve you in my next scheme? Oh, okay. Well, too bad, because I was gonna ask you if you could go speak to Catelyn for me and get her to kind of giving us Jaime back, essentially, because he's their prisoner. Because at first he's like, they're not gonna give you Jaime. It's like, oh, why not? You should go speak to Catelyn. I know how much how fond you are of her and whatever. Like, right? So he knows how to play Baelish, right? So there you go. So Baelish, it looks like, is working right into his plans, right, in that sense. So but yeah, he finds out that as the Grand Maester was the snitch because of the family, and he just continues to repeat it, that he serves the family. He's always served the Lannisters. He's adamant about the fact that he's only doing as he was told, in the sense he was trying to look out for the queen, which is a Lannister. And again, Tyrion,
he's kind of in a weird position too, because you're fighting. You have to actually like keep a secret from one Lannister from another Lannister, and it could, you know what I mean? So I get what he's saying, but
I get it. It's a bad position for him to be in, but at the same time, it's like listen, Tyrion fucking again throws his authority that was given to him around in this scene. You see him fucking take care of him and gets him fucking hauled off, and
he rips his beard off, threatens to cut his fucking penis off. That was
off. Yeah, he's got like a device that looks like they could cut his dick off with. It was
looks like a little cigar trimmer. Like, here we go, put it in a little cigar. The thing that cuts the tops of cigars off.
Right. Yeah. He even alludes to basically how long he's been basically snitching and how many hands that how many hands he had in shit that went down over the last little while. He basically starts rambling off a bunch of other occurrences, and he's just adamant about saying, "Oh, I always served the Lannisters." He's like, "Yeah, whatever, take this guy away," right, and gets him taken away. And like you said, there's a great scene at the end where he puts a coin on the table for the whore that because of, "Oh, I'm sorry about all this." And after they haul him off, he turns back around and leaves a second coin on top of the coin because he's just like, yeah,
man. He's like, I'm gonna need to come see you probably sooner than later. But I don't know if that's where I don't know if did she know that was that the whole plan, and like have her there
No,
with, and I don't think so. I just think he was nice because he's got money, man.
yeah,
He
that's
can
all
do
it
that,
was.
right?
I think that's
She
all
was
that.
scared, right?
But again, it showed how he's really pushing to clean things up right now. Like in
He's really pushing his own narrative.
everything that's gone on that's been wrong doing though that prior to him getting there, he is cleaning it all up, whether it's with enemies or fucking people he doesn't like he anything that they were responsible, like he's a fucking stand-up dude, honestly, like he really is, like he's just like, I'm gonna suss out everybody that fucking did not play fairly in this situation, even defending Ned Stark, even defending, you know what I mean? Like he's like, and he's a Lannister, but he's like, no, this is not how we do things. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's
Lannisters, they're honest. These things, at least
right.
he is. At least that's from what I can tell.
That's right. So then Varys ends up, sitting there with him having some wine, and he basically have a discussion about how their mutual friend, speaking of Shay, is now working, how well she's working out with being with Sansa now. And so yeah, obviously he put this into play, and it seems like again him and Varys seem to be working together somewhat, or at least he's agreeable of what he's been doing. He's like, yeah, and you've done a great job disposing of the Grandmeister as well. So like it seems like now they're somewhat trusting each other because he wasn't him who snitched to Cersei. So I think he's kind of trying to bring him a little closer as a result, right? Because obviously, Varys would have been one of the first people I feel like you would have thought would be the one to go and snitch to her, right? But he wasn't in the situation. No. So,
that's what I thought too. But then he has that riddle. What's that riddle? Did you hear it?
I have it here. So he tells him a riddle about a king, a priest, and a rich man, and he basically says, in the middle of sitting between all of them. Yeah, sitting in between all of them is a sellsword, and a sellsword, I had to look this one up, is a mercenary. So he's basically saying a mercenary sitting in between all of them. Basically, which one of them wins over the other? The two of them survive, one of them die. He basically, the riddle was, in that situation with all these people being who they are, who would come out on top? And what's his name? Tyrion's basically like, well, it depends on the sellsword, essentially. And he's like, no, he's like, the point of the riddle was that power resides where men believe it resides. So because he's saying if the king is the most powerful person in the kingdom, essentially, why are you afraid of the sellsword, the mercenary, that we know that he can take him out because he has more power with the sword? The person that wields the sword is actually more powerful than the king himself. That's what he's trying to say. So he's basically saying, listen, for being a small man, you can cast a very large shadow in this situation that you're in right now. Basically saying, yeah, you can use what you have at your disposal to let people think that you're powerful, even though, you know what I mean, that is not the case if you play it right. That's what I think was the point of the riddle.
Right? Like using his guards, using his mind, using everything, his family name and all that.
Right.
Just because, to get what he wants.
Because as we know from previous episodes with Varys mentioning this, because he thinks information is power, him and Tyrion are not so far off, are very alike in that sense. They both are using what they have at their disposal, and they're not what you would necessarily think to be the person to watch out for in the realm, right? So and
that's what really, I think, gets you through life in that sense. It's like using your street smarts. I mean, it's not street smarts over there, but let's say castle smarts or whatever. You know what I mean?
That's right.
So yeah, it's really cool, no, because they both are, and then Tyrion just says he hates riddles, right? But it's true. I didn't get that one either. I was trying to figure that out, but yeah, now that you said it and you kind of reiterated that, it actually makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, and then that's why they're very much alike in that sense, and it makes sense with this scene specifically why they're getting along. It seems like in some sense right now, right? So, okay, and then finally, the last scenes here play out as Arya
cleaning her sword.
She's sitting there asking basically the man who's like that they're all with, that kind of like from the Night's Watch there, that's basically got all these bastards and stuff with him that, that's helping them out through the woods there, his group. He asked, how the man sleeps with too much on his mind, essentially, because she's sitting there, she can't sleep, and she mentions the fact about she's still bothered by her father's death and how the people that were responsible for it stood up there, and she remembers them in her mind, and it seems like she's very vengeful and pissed off at them as a result of all this, and she can't get she can't sleep because it bothers her so much, the memory of all those people standing up there, Joffrey and Cersei and everybody else, her sister. Basically, it's haunting her essentially what had happened. That scene that we saw before she had to get whisked away, right? And then you get a good scene where the man tells her a story about witnessing his brother's death and how this guy that killed him, his name was Willem. And he's like, what's sad? He's like, I can't remember his face anymore. And he's like, but I'll never forget his killer. And it was this Willem guy. And he's like, and after he killed him, he's like, I had that every day, like the name would go through my head and I couldn't get him out of his head and blah, blah, blah. And he said, anyways, like one day he came back around finally. And he tells her how he killed him. And basically when he ended up killing him, that kind of all stopped. And that's kind of what got him to basically go to the wall to begin with, essentially, in the first place, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then the war horns go off after he's had this conversation with her, and he tells them to run away north, her and the other ones, like other younger people. Like he basically says, get the fuck out of here, run away north. He runs out, and it's the Lannisters, the King's Watch people, looking for bastards once again, looking for what's his name, that kid that he asks about. What the fuck is Gendry? They're asking for him, asking where he is. And this man throws down. He basically, spits at them. He says, in the name of the King Joffrey, you have to lay down your weapons. He says, fuck you, or he refuses. And he gets shot by a crossbow, and then he just fucking goes off. He's like, I fucking hate crossbows. And he takes the arrow out and fucking starts slashing them and ends up taking a couple of them down. But before he just gets overpowered, there's like 6 of them on him, and he ends up getting killed there, unfortunately, right? But as that's all going on, Arya and the rest of the bastards, the kids of Gendry and everybody else, they're running around. She gives a weapon to the man that's an axe, basically, to the man that's imprisoned in the cage that she spoke to last episode, if you recall that. There was a man in a cage. She gives him that as they're all trying to escape, but unfortunately she ends up getting caught. All of them end up getting caught. They're sitting there, and there's some kid that got stabbed that can't actually get up. He asked for help, and one of the king's men walks over to him. He says, I'm sorry, I can't get up. You're going to have to carry me. The fucking guy takes the sword and drives it right into his fucking neck, right there and then, and kills the fucking kid in cold blood, right as he's sitting there fucking helpless.
Yeah, man. It's like he put the knife in the top of Buddy's head there. That was like, he's just, this is all Joffrey's doing, right?
Yeah. Well, they're looking for the bastard right now, right?
Who was she trying to run to go unlock in the things? Just guys that were burning in the fire? Because the one guy looked at her and it kind of paused there for her, and it looked like the person was familiar for some reason. But they
had a conversation previously. Him in the cage, right? And he asked her for the assistance of the axe, right? So, anyways, they end up witnessing that this guy killed the fucking kid in front of all of them, and they end up catching all of them, and they all become, prisoner to them at the end. And they're basically like, well, where's Gendry, the bastard? Let us know where he is right now. And Arya is very smart on the spot, kind of turns over and looks at the fucking kid dead there, and she notices that Gendry's helmet is not far from his head on the ground. And she basically says, well, if you want him, that's him over there, the kid you just killed, essentially. And
he really loved that helmet. Right, yeah. That was a great scene, that one too, at the end, because it's just, they're still going to be caught now. Now I like to see where the next episode brings me. But honestly,
good episode.
Getting crazier, bro. Like I'm enjoying it. I really am. To be honest, I didn't think I was going to enjoy it that much, but like I said, it's slowly getting better. Like first episode season was great. First episode not so great on this one. This one's getting a little bit better now. It's starting to pick up. I think, and I like to see it when it gets like that, where it's like Tyrion putting all that shit in motion and stuff, and you can see that he's caught where he's trying to fucking get the mouse moving, right?
Like I said, they just have to build up steam again, because unfortunately, the way they ended the first season and the way that the story is going now, like I said, everyone kind of got separated, and we have so many narratives that we have to follow now. Like even they're at the point where they have to build these big complex storylines with so many characters. And not only are they doing that, they're introducing us to new characters along the way as well. So much so we don't even see all the characters every episode. Like this episode, you didn't see Joffrey, you didn't see fucking
Have you seen Jon Snow in one scene?
Khaleesi, you didn't see any of that. You didn't see her at all in this episode, right? So like there's a lot of things happening right now. So like even though it seems like, you know, they're taking their time, you have to with this type of shit sometimes, right? Like
we were at the Greyjoys there. I thought all of a sudden I thought I seen a little Aquaman in the back first appearance. Sorry. I had to, man. It was just, that's the water. It was just because I hadn't seen him. Like that's when around the time I was thinking that, you know, you're not seeing some of the big characters. What's going on in this episode? The only one is consistent, I think, throughout this whole series is Tyrion. Yeah. No wonder he's number one.
Thank God. I mean, he's one of the best characters in my opinion, if not my. Well, he's my favorite character.
He's one right now that's keeping me watching.
He's my favorite character in the whole series. I'll tell you that right now. He is.
I didn't see no dragons again. I only seen another. I seen it one time. Okay, like they really teased me with that one, and then they're like, no, you're not gonna see him anymore. Fuck you.
But once again, as Leslie was quick to mention to you in the comments of one of the last episodes we put up, Jay, you know,
they don't care
about your feelings. The show does not care about your feelings. So if you're getting attached to these people, even Tyrion, so be careful.
Shut up, okay? I don't care. They kill all those whores. I don't give a shit. Don't kill Tyrion, man. I like him. He's all right.
We'll see what happens. So, guys,
we'll see who I like it by the end of this.
That'll do it for season 2, episode 3 here. What is dead may never die. Next episode is the episode's called Garden of Bones, and that's episode 4 of season 2. We'll talk about that next week. As always, you know, we've been getting these out on Thursdays for you guys. Normally, make sure to follow us on Instagram, Late Night Chat Network, as well as catch us on our weekly live show, Late Night Chat, every week on Mondays. We've been pretty consistent about keeping it to that schedule once again, which is pretty cool. So yeah, definitely check those out as well. And more stuff to come. And like I said, we've been trying to get these out weekly for you guys here again. And definitely check back. And if it's your first time checking out the channel, make sure you're subscribed.
Make sure. Make sure you like and subscribe.
That's right, both. All right, guys, it's gonna do it for today.
Guys.
See you guys next time.
And the next one.
Later.